You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie? What's
Mike.
good? How's it going?
Mike.
Life is
What's
good,
up?
bro. Life is good. Life is good in New Jersey this week. You know, it's Wednesday. It's our podcast day. There's bowling on. I'm watching. I'm doing the podcast on one screen. I got bowling on the other screen, watching the last game of qualifying for the TOC here. Life is good, Rob. What's good with you?
Mike, let me tell you what we received in the mail a couple days ago.
Ooh, yo,
Ready?
Sweep the Rack mail? Sweep the Rack actual. Yo. Look at that, John. Oh, my goodness.
Dude, Sweep the Rack rosin bag.
Oh, my goodness. And, Rob, let's be
Dude.
clear. We're not trying to sell something to the people here, right?
No. But if you want one, let me know. And I'll tell you how much it costs. But, dude, check it out. And I want to thank Lindy's Bags. Lindy's Bags. Get a grip on your game. Jeff Lindenmuth, who I know is a friend of mine out of Irvine, California, does dye sublimation grip sacks, Mike. So if you want your logo or a company logo, dude, isn't that cool?
Rob, can you give me some description on how that sack feels?
Dude, it feels great. It's like not like your normal, like cheap. Do you remember those rosin bags where you used to throw against the wall and they used to explode? That's not what this feels like. It's very like different. It's a different type of feel. I can't explain it, but it's like a vinyl almost feel.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah,
so it's a nice feeling sack.
It's a nice feeling sack, Mike.
Beautiful.
You know,
well, if it has
so
our name on it, I would expect it to be a nice feeling sack, Rob, for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna be all show. I'm gonna be playing with my sack, Mike.
No, I understand why. I mean,
Fondling it.
when you get a box of sacks in the mail, what else would you do other than play with play with them?
No, not really. And it's a logo. It's pretty cool. So
this is dope. This is dope. That's the dopest grip sack I ever seen.
Yeah.
Shout to Lindy's.
Lindy's Bags.
Lindy's Bags. Rob, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm watching the action. Bill just ripped his mask off.
Uh-oh.
Bill just ripped his mask off. It's the last game of qualifying. He went 4-7-10. He literally ripped the mask off his face. So
Dude.
A lot of frustration out there.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit later in the show about what's going on the Tournament Champions right now, because I know you've been watching a lot of bowling. I've been watching a lot of bowling the last couple of days.
I've been watching a lot of bowling.
I know. It's been nice, actually. Rob. We'll talk a little bit, but thankfully, TOC, you get to watch a lot of great bowlers. There aren't any donkeys in that field, that's for sure. So, normally when you watch the Masters of the U.S. Open on flow bowling, you're watching 80% donkeys and 20% people you want to watch. Tournament Champions is like, 100% people you want to watch, and there are no donkeys. So we'll talk a little bit later about the good old Tournament of Champions this week. But Mike, we got a lot to talk about. When it comes to, some drama, right, in the players. And we had a big show on Sunday. We appreciate everybody who joined us and listened to our inaugural live commentary show.
The comments are great. The sack comments are great. I love it. I love it.
Sometimes it just happens. You leave the door unlocked. You're playing with your grip sack.
Yep.
And hey, it's the pandemic, Mike. I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, I understand.
So anyway, so there was some drama, and we on the Players Championship, and Mike, the live reaction from me and you when that whole when Dick Allen spilled his water on the lane was pretty good. I went back and watched it, and it's just amazing to be able to watch yourself as a live like reaction to something that was kind of really out of the ordinary, right? But being on social media, right? Facebook, and especially Facebook and Twitter, where all the savages are, right? People are criticizing like Dick Allen, and they're talking about how, he did it on purpose. And and even Dick Allen had an interesting social media post about saying, I don't know if you saw this, Mike, unless he's blocked you or whatever, but he said
I'm pretty sure he has me blocked on all social media platforms.
He said something, the fact where like, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but I was bowling for 250,000. So it was something in that case. Look, okay, and I'm gonna say this, and I know
go ahead.
I know there is no chance, in my personal opinion, that he did that on purpose. Okay, that he actually, in the middle of a match in national live TV, would pretend to, do this and spill water all over the approach. Okay, I don't. There's no way. Okay, so anybody criticizing him that he did it on purpose, he did it to mess Smallwood up, whatever. There's no chance that this guy did this on purpose, right? And we could have a lot of beef, right, Mike? And you could, we could go back and forth with him a lot, right? But I respect Dick Allen on the lanes and what he does as a player, and he's a titleist, right? He's a lot of people have a lot of good things to say about him. He's not going to do that intentionally, okay? So I don't really know. I don't really want to spend too much time on that, but I just kind of wanted to just kind of talk about that because I've seen a lot of criticism online.
If I'm not out there saying that he did it purposefully, trust me, he didn't do it purposefully. Okay? Yeah. Trust me on that one. All right? Because if there was any inkling that he did, we both have a lot to say about it, I believe. But certainly,
if I thought he did it intentionally, we'd be the first to say it.
Yeah, and I had a couple conversations with a few PBA players since Sunday, and obviously that was the main topic of conversation, that occurrence, because it's not something that we've really ever seen before. So, and the overall resounding opinion, Rob, was that there's no way that any PBA player would do something like that on purpose. I mean, one guy did say to me, there might be a small handful of guys that if that happened, I might be able to convince that they pulled a stunt like that. But I mean, you got to really have real disrespect for the game to do something of that nature, But let's be clear, though, Rob, that incident did affect Tom Smallwood. He took the high road. On social media, somebody actually read his post while we were on the air. Your brother read his post while we were on the air, and he took the high road. Credit to him. That's what these guys are going to do. But it affected him. I mean, whether he blames that himself or not for his collapse afterwards, that was a collapse. I mean, that was one of the more shocking collapses we've seen in a match of that magnitude, okay, in quite a long time. He comes out, he rolls the ball over the thumb hole, Rob. I mean, the thing that we talked to him about the previous show when he was on was, his full roll, and we talked to him about how that impacts his game and whether that has allowed him to stay competitive over these years, et cetera, and in the environment that he's in. And here, it actually turns out to be somewhat of a curse with that shot that started the downfall.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of cursed him, talking about how he was, Freddie for the cheddar, and how he was one of the most clutch players on tour. And I just kind of feel like I gave him a little bit of a mush there, but it did affect the match. Look, call a spade a spade. That water got spilled in the exact perfect time for Dick Allen in the match. I think he was down 20. Smallwood was on a string, and Smallwood was getting up, and they had to go to a unplanned commercial break. Which commercial break, look, I've never bowled live on TV before, but commercial breaks are tough to deal with if you're a player. And they always talk about it. Randy Peterson always talks about how hard it is to get up after a commercial break and throw a great shot.
Forget a commercial break. There was a spill. There was a spill in an area
break
that they had to walk through. Like, we all know what it's like to, even if you don't get it on your shoe, to just have to mentally deal with walking past that area and having that thought in your head of it's not totally dry and there probably is something on my shoe, or I'm going to stick when I go full out here. And then, listen, come on, we've all been there. Like, no one's going to sit here and tell me that doesn't affect things. Yeah, we're going to get there, Jimmy, right? That's
so Jimmy from the Ring 10 says Smalls is leading the TOC out of spite for how the players went.
He's not leading the TOC.
Yeah.
He's putting on a clinic at the TOC.
He is.
Okay.
Frank Diddy, I like that last name, Diddy. Diddy is insane to see people making those kind of comments. The spill affected him as well. Frank, if you know anything about the internet, people are insane what they write on the internet.
If you know anything about bowlers, I mean, Frank, people are trying to tell me that the lanes are easy. That it's a house shot that they're bowling. I mean, listen, people, the general public really has very little idea of what's going on out there. But Rob, that's why we're here. That's why Sweep the Rack is here. We're like the middleman between the uninformed bowler and the elite level bowler.
I don't know. I sometimes can't deal with the uninformed bowler. I'll be honest with you.
I hear you. All right, let's move on our topic here, because I don't want to get stuck talking about the same thing. One of the things that we didn't get to talk about Sunday, Rob, that we should probably bring up, and I found interesting. I saw it during the show. We just didn't really talk about it on our live feed for Sunday. Was the sponsors, a couple new sponsors noticeable in the background of the PBA show on Sunday, and that was Snickers and Kia, right? So I want to say, Rob, like, we talked about this off air, right? And, I mean, we prepare for the show, so obviously, like, we're going to mention some of the things we're going to talk about, and we both had the same thought on this. So I'll put it out there on both of our behalf. And first, shout to the PBA, okay? Shout to Coley and her team for getting some new, well-recognizable sponsors, logos on the PBA Tour shows, okay? Well needed. We've talked about it here. I love seeing it. I'm going to encourage every single person that watches this podcast that bowls, go out, buy Snickers. If you're looking for a car, at least go to a Kia dealership. And I'm going to tell you something. Tell them that you went there because they sponsored the PBA. As a grassroots effort to support the companies that support the sport that we love and want to see do well. So, Rob, first shout to them, right? Because I don't want anybody going on Twitter and saying, "Oh, these guys bashed them no matter what." Listen, I call a spade a spade. Nice job. It's great to see that. Here's the question to me, though, Rob, and I'm only asking this question in fairness, right? And honestly, this is one example where I wish we did have access to the powers that be at the PBA still. We did at one time. I don't really feel like we do now. But one question that I would love to ask, and I think this is a key question here, is what are the specific terms of these sponsorship deals, or what is the PBA getting out of these sponsorship deals? How long are these sponsorship deals for? Right? These are some of the questions that or things that I would love to see kind of released publicly to a degree, so that we, the fan, can have a greater idea of what the level of commitment is on those companies and what the impact might be for the PBA in general.
Question though, do other companies, and I mean like sports, like golf or NASCAR, do they release the details of the sponsorships?
Yeah, I think they do in some instances. I believe that they do. Yeah. I don't know if they give the specifics, but they'll say, we contributed $1 million to this particular event, or I'm sure there's probably certain already determined levels of sponsorship in certain sports. But I would bring up an example like stadium sponsorship deals. Okay. Those the details get discussed. Rob, Jeff Lindemuth in the chat.
Yo,
saying what's up. Jeff, thank you, man. Yo, those are awesome. Those are awesome. We appreciate it.
Lindy's bags. These rosin bags are I'm just sitting here playing with my sock. It's been great.
Jeff is going to be considered Sweep the Rack fam. And our first unofficial sponsor, Rob. We don't want to get him in trouble by attaching his name to any crazy shit we say. So not an official sponsor, but friend of the show and unofficial sponsor for sure. Sweep the Rack. First one, Jeff. So you have that great distinction. But Rob, back to speaking of sponsorship, right? Back to that issue of the sponsorships for the PBA. I would just like to know the information, Rob. That's all. I whether it can be released, not released, whatever. It's general. It's not. I want to know. I want to have some indication of that.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see it. And right, like, first off, good point. You don't have to, like, I don't know, go to Snickers but you know what? There's social media. I'm sure Snickers has a social media, right? Tweet yourself eating a candy bar, right? Hey, thanks for giving a shout out to the PBA. That if enough people do it, word gets back like, hey, look, like we're getting a lot of hits on social media because we're sponsoring the PBA. Kia, look, like Kia's a good car. I don't know. I don't have a Kia, but I've driven one. So yeah, that's a good point though on supporting the sponsors, right? Because we want them to stay and we want them to give more money ultimately to have more $250,000 live shows, right? Where everybody was all excited about it. If the PBA could manage to do that 3 or 4 times a year instead of just once every 10 years, it would be, it would be amazing. You'd see a lot of bowlers start coming out of retirement, right? With that being said, what are the specifics behind the sponsorships? Mike, did Snickers give them a $500 check and a year supply of candy bars to Coley, and now they're the sponsor? Because if that's the case, shit, I'll give Coley $500 right now to get a Sweep the Rack logo on the back of that digital looking stupid board that they have in the bowlers of bowling. Imagine the digital board. Mike, imagine yours and mine picture just hovering across the back while they're bowling. Could you imagine? Coley would be steaming mad if we were, a logo sponsor.
That's what I'm saying, Rob. I want to know. I want to have an idea of what the significance is and what the
how much? What do they do? Or what was the years? What was the are they going to back a tournament? Is there going to be a what is Snickers logo like? What is their motto? It's like hungry or why wait or something like that. I don't know, but are they going to have a Snickers I don't know, tournament? Is it going to be a Kia tournament, or did they not give that much money? So,
Justin Ziegler.
Oh, my guy Ziegler.
Acute comment in the chat. PBA's website is a disgrace, yo. It really is.
So Justin Ziegler, what's up, man? Shout, dude.
You can't find the scores. Nothing's there. It's come on, please. All right, tough, Rob.
Yeah,
I want to wrap up our discussion of the Players Championship here. We haven't talked about the man of the hour, Rob. We went live on Sunday. Kyle Troup won the tournament. He wins his first major, wins the $250,000. Obviously, these guys are bowling tonight, so we reached out to him. We hope to have them on in the near future, as soon as possible. But with their travel schedules and bowling schedules, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to do our best to work it out. But listen, man, Kyle Troup was the man of the hour on Sunday. He did what needed to be done. He made the adjustments that needed to be made. His level of focus was impressive, especially towards the end of the game for the shots that mattered. Bill commented on Twitter that the last 5 or 6 shots that Kyle threw were just excellent, and I agreed with that. And yeah, really, I just don't want this wrap up of the Players Championship to go by without us really giving him his just due, because he deserves it for that performance.
Yeah, there was a quote too that went out, and not sure if it was said on the show because obviously we were doing some commentary. But
Just 1 second, Rob. Sean Maldonado, last game of qualifying, TOC 300. I don't know where he is. I have no idea because the PBA, the scores are like nearly impossible to find. But 300 the last game of qualifying here. Belmonte going 279 last game of qualifying here. First one in the 10th he just got. So interesting developments here. But go ahead. Sorry, Rob.
no, it's cool. Appreciate the live update. You're like the what was I gonna say? You're like the Dan Roker of Dan Rather of the PBA. Kyle had a very interesting quote where he said, "I went from sideshow Bob to main event Kyle," and I really found that quote interesting because rewind a couple years ago, I was talking to a friend of mine who doesn't know a lot about competitive bowling but used to bowl kind of deal, and I had a conversation with him, and he's just like, "Well, who the good career, the big personalities these days?" And I'm like, "Oh, Kyle Troup, you know who that is?" He's like, "Oh, is that kid who dresses like a clown and has a fro?" And I'm just like, "Yeah." He's like, "What a joke he is. It makes bowling as a joke." And he started kind of really getting down. And this kid is just one of those casual fans. And he's like, just was really down on Kyle just because of how he dressed and his hair, and thought that it was making a joke of bowling, called him a clown a few times. And I just said, look, that's his personality. His dad, dressed really loudly, and he kind of passed that tradition on. I feel like Kyle got that a lot, probably before really of him really being a well-known pro, a tour pro. I'm sure he got a lot of criticism online, especially from the old like traditionalists. Maybe because of the hair, because of the way he dresses, and this was him coming out and saying, "Who's laughing now?" You know what I mean? Almost reminds me of that scene of Rocky Balboa, when he was an old Rocky, and after the second round, his son comes and says, "Everyone thought this was a joke, including me. Now nobody's laughing." And I kind of feel like that quote I got chills just saying that because, dude, my man Kyle is focused. He's practicing. He's having a great TOC right now. I think he's in the top 5 or 6. And yo, he's the future of the PBA. Like him, Simonson, like Prather, but like he's the most charismatic personality. He's fun. He's intense. He talks, a little bit of shit, especially in that final match, when he needed to. And I feel like, dude, he's here to stay, and he's gonna make a run for Player of the Year. If it's not this year, it's definitely gonna be in the next like 3 years. He's just got to get over that Belmo hump.
Update here, Rob. The PBA has actually added an easy-to-find link to the scores on their website.
Dude, I love it.
Holy
people
shit.
are giving them a lot of shit.
I am blown away
because of it.
Holy
yeah,
shit.
people are giving them a lot of shit.
Rob.
It's not just us.
Rob, let me say something, Rob, okay? And I'm, listen, people, I'm just saying, okay? I'm just saying, all right? On Sunday after Kyle Troup won, I sent out a tweet to Wendy's saying, "Hey, Wendy's, one of your former managers just won a PBA major title and $250,000. That's a lot of cheese." Okay, you see what I did there? I put that on Twitter, right? I sent it out. Guess who liked the tweet, Rob?
Wendy?
No. Well, that would have been better. That actually would have been a lot better.
Dave Thomas?
That would have been better too. But no, actually, it was Coley Edison who liked the tweet. Okay.
Oh.
So, listen, I mean, I know that we're here clowning around, and like to me and you, this is not something that's very serious. But Rob, let's be clear. Like you and I do put a lot of time and conversation into the ideas that we bring to this show in terms of like, ideas that we have for bowling, right?
Yeah.
So when we say on Twitter like, hey, this is ridiculous that you can't easily find the scores, I'm glad to see they're listening. I'm giving them credit for being willing to listen and make an adjustment. So the scores are up there. Back to Kyle Troup for a second, Rob. I think everything you said was spot on. I'll be honest, I kind of viewed Kyle Troup that way when he first came out and was competing on tour myself. I had never heard of him before. I had never heard of him in terms of bowling, college bowling, amateur bowling. Okay. Had never heard of her. Had never heard of him at that time. Okay. Didn't really think much of his game when he first came out. I kind of thought, this is another guy who's like picked up the two-handed style. He's making a run at it. So be it. Okay. I pay attention to the way that these guys throw the ball, and I'll tell you that over the last 10 years, there might not be another player on tour who's made more changes to their game than Kyle Troup. Okay. All you have to do is go back and look at his first tour title. Okay. Go back and watch the video. I think it was the Wolf Open or the Cheetah Open. It was a short pattern. I remember that. And he was bowling with motive at the time. And I mean, it was just power. It was just speed and repetition, and that's really what his game boiled down to. And now, my man is getting it. Like he's understanding it out there. He's really opening up the ability to do different things to and with the bowling ball, and it shows. It shows in the fact that he won this event. So. Shout to him, Rob. Like we said, we anticipate having him on in the near future. But like you said, Rob, Players Championship is now a week behind us, and we're in the TOC. So, Rob, are we going to keep it moving for the people here, or what?
Yeah, dude, it's going to be. We're going to talk a little bit tournament champions right now.
Like that shit.
Because I am. Because I am.
Yeah, Jeff Pierce has his 2015 PBA Wolf Open. All right, TOC, Rob. TOC, where you want to go? Where you want to start?
Let's talk Kyle Sherman.
I don't mean to laugh. Yo. Dude, shout to Kyle Sherman. I've done mad dumb stuff in my life. Kyle Sherman.
Okay.
Man.
He did it to himself. Okay. Nobody should be really angry or upset, or I don't really know what it is. Look, the guy drove 17 hours to Florida and was there for 3 days, according to the blog or vlog or whatever he put up on his YouTube channel. And so I guess what happened was he never entered the tournament. And then I don't know his first name, but like Weber or Steve Weber or someone for the PBA walked over to him and says, "Hey, you're not bowling." And he goes, "What?" He goes, "You're not entered." I said, "Oh shit, he didn't enter the tournament. He failed to register." So he drove all the way there, spent the travel money, right? Thought he was bowling, and I mean, you got to feel bad for him in a certain extent, because this is his career and his livelihood, right? Like, I'm not going to come down on him because he did it to himself. This is
bad week too, Rob. Bad week. $10,000 for 13th place this week.
I know.
Bad week, dude. Forget to register.
I mean, but Mike, though, and the criticism of it, though, Mike, you have one job. You enter the tournament and you book your travel expenses and you go bowl. I mean, you have a real job. I have a real job. I mean, I do 100 things at once, and I have a things to do list, and I have to get through it, right? You're the same way. You have 1,000 things you need to do, right? In your daily job. You have one job to enter a tournament. You go to the website, you enter your information, you put your credit card, you press register. Mike, I registered for the TAT. That's in July. It's February. I'm not saying it's not, but how do you forget? I don't know.
Well, listen, he's a busy guy, They have the social media thing going on, and I'm sure they're very busy. Rob, these professional bowlers, some of them have mentioned it to us before that, they handle a lot of their own business in that fashion. So, like, I'll be honest, at a certain point, it's got to get daunting in terms of trying to put things together and make sure that all the things on your to-do list are checked off. But Rob, can I say this? Can I point out that there are? I'll be honest. I don't know everybody that made it through the PTQ, right? So I might be wrong on some of these. I'm just going by my off the top of the head knowledge here. But there's a few guys who are taking advantage of Kyle Sherman's mistake of not registering. Guys that probably got in through the PTQ, like I said, just going off the top of my head here, that are taking advantage. I mean, Nick Pate, 13th, Brandon Novak, 14th. This is with a game to go. Michael Davidson, who we had on the show a couple weeks ago, Rob, 20th place. Chris Polizzi, I've never really heard that name before, from Spring Hill, Florida, 22nd, with a game to go. Trevor Roberts, Rob, who we had on the show, one of the young bulls a few weeks ago, 25th place with a game to go. So, listen, I mean, Kyle Sherman's mistake could be somebody else's big check here, Rob, because 13th place is 10 grand. This is a huge paying tournament, and listen, that's kind of the way things go. I mean, you got to make sure you take care of those things. All right, Rob, you wanted to talk about Kyle Sherman. I want to talk about the scoring pace of this tournament. Okay.
Yeah.
So I put out a tweet yesterday saying that the average house bowler, the average 230 or a 230 house bowler, most 230 house bowlers would probably average 180 on this Tournament of Champions pattern, and I thought that was on the higher end of the scale. Okay.
Well, real quick, let me interject here. The reason why that is one, they're bowling on different pairs, right? In your regular house league, you bowl only one pair for 3 games. These guys are bowling 6 games on 6 different pairs. Every pair they're moving, they have to adjust. League bowlers or house league bowlers normally don't have the intelligence to know where to make a move, how to adjust balls to switch to. So, it might be easy for you to bowl 230 or average 230 on a house shot for 3 games on the same pair in the same bowling center for 20 years. But when you go to a different bowling center with different, oil, different, crosses, and you're bowling around the best in the world, your 230 easily comes to a 2-0 real quick.
2-0 comes to 180. I mean, I have a couple points to make here. Jimmy is pointing out that my tweet got retweeted by Belmo, and then I tweeted out that I kind of feel like Belmo's bowling's Oprah, where like anything he tweets out or likes or retweets, like it's automatically an explosion. I'm getting followers. I'm having people comment and like and all that. So, and listen, I feel very strongly about this too. I do. I was trying to like keep things civil on Twitter and not like get into calling people dopes and idiots, like my favorite Philadelphia sports talk radio host. But people do not understand how good these guys are. People do not understand how high their standard is of what a good shot is or what a bad shot is. Okay. People do not understand how low the standard is of the vast majority of house bowlers. I don't care what their average, of how low their standard is of what a good or bad shot is. Okay. I understand that the scores are high. I get it. Okay. I understand that someone shooting 868 is remarkable. It's remarkable. But Rob, we've had Norm Duke on this show, and this is back in the late 90s, where he shot 900 at a PBA in a qualifying event with a break in between. With a break in between the second and third 300, okay? So, like, here's my point, okay? When you give guys that are this good anything, you give them anything, they're going to eat. They are going to eat it alive. Okay, not all of them. Not all guys. Take a look at the scores this week. I said this is somebody on Twitter. AJ Johnson through the first day was averaging 2-0. This is one of the best bowlers in the world. He will eat your shit for lunch, okay? And he's averaging 2.0, right?
Well, Mike,
If you
here's
just let me finish my rant, please. Let me finish my rant. If you think that they're easy, you really have no clue how good these guys are. Now, with that said, are they easy for the PBA Tour? Of course they are. Of course, this is an easy condition for the standard of the PBA Tour. No one would deny that. There's average records being set. People are shooting 868. Players are shooting multiple 300s. I get that. But please understand the difference in the standard. What is easy for the PBA Tour is still nearly impossible to even some of the most accomplished league players out there. All right. And if you don't understand that, you need to go and bowl on some of this shit yourself and find out how hard it is. Okay. Because it's really the truth. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah. No. First off, they won't go and bowl because then they're 230 and they're going around saying that they're the house pro and they have 100 honor scores, and then when they go average 175, they're embarrassed and they don't want to face that music, right? So they just sit in their hometown in their home bowling center and they average their 230, and that's fine, right? That's what they want to do. But don't criticize people or don't criticize the touring pros for being good when you're just in your comfort zone and you don't want to challenge yourself as a bowler. Okay, let me talk about my personal experience. Okay, bowling with these guys. Okay, I bowled the World Series of Bowling for years. Okay, when it was at the South Point, not the stadium, at the South Point. Okay, let me tell you about one year I bowled. It was probably after 3 games, I shot like 655 for 3 games. Mike, I bowled well too. I threw the ball great, had a great reaction. Like, 650, thought I was pretty good, right? I'm sitting there like, man, I should be at least in the top like 25 out of like the 140 entries, right? Or top 50 score. The lanes seemed like they were tough, right? I look at the scores. Sean Rash, 800. Belmonte, 790, 780, 760, 750, 50, 40, 30. I'm like in like 60th place in 650. Mike, dude, I thought I threw a ball great, and they weren't hard. They weren't easy, and they weren't that hard either. They were playable, but it took a lot out of me to bowl 650, 660, and here Sean Rash bowling 800, like, and Belmont bowl 800. And I said to somebody, I said, I didn't have 800. I could have thrown 4 games and I probably wouldn't have had 800. You know what I mean? Like, that's how good these people are. Unless you go and you experience and bowling with these guys. I crossed with Wes Malott for 5 days. He kicked the shit out of me, Mike, for 5 days. The guy was standing 2 arrows left of me. He was throwing in 2 arrows right of me. And he was out averaging me by like 20 pins every day. I was averaging 205, 210. He's averaging 230 like it's nothing. Had the whole lane, made it seem easy. Okay? Until you get out there and you mix it up with these guys and you really understand how good a Wes Malott is or a Sean Rash is and you bowl against them, you don't really know. And that's the thing, is they'll never know. They'll just sit home and criticize, that their scores are easy and the lanes are walled. But I think you make a good point.
Jeff, I see your comment there, and listen, like I have to disagree.
What was his
there.
comment? Put it up. You got to.
I can't put it up. I told you I'm not logged in, so I don't have access. No, not Jeff Piershad. Sorry, Jeff Lindemuth. The one about the house bowlers. Yeah, house bowlers don't have the advantage, right, the ball rep and drilling a lot of balls. Listen, Jeff, I'll give the house bowler whatever they want. Okay, it ain't going to make a difference in the world. Put up Frank Diddy's comment as well here, Rob. He says, about Walter Ray's standard, right? He missed a half a board left. And listen, when I say give these guys anything, see that to me, that's what bowling on easy shit all the time makes you lose track of. There's like 50 different things that can go wrong with any given bowling shot. Okay. And in order to execute on what these guys are bowling on, all 50 of those things have to be right every time to strike. Okay. Not perfect, but they need to be close to the same. All right. The standard of deviation on something easy is just so out of whack that it's ridiculous. Okay. It's crazy. So that's really what people don't get. All right. And Chris, I see the comment about how
Let's read it
this
because
should be
people are
different.
listening to this. These conditions are hard. Chris Lutz, these conditions are hard to house league bowlers, but this is the TOC. House bowlers don't compete here. The TOC should be played on a shot that's difficult for pro bowlers, not easy for read for them. It's a fair point. It's a fair point.
Agreed.
But guess what, Mike? So here's my next point, Mike. Is this the new Coley Bolero bowling?
Yes. Jimmy just asked it. Jimmy just asked it. Yes, it is. And listen, it can't. Come on.
Jeff, let me say this: Irvine is not easy. Okay, I've bowled on some easy house shots. Forget that place, dude. That place is like bowling global 24 hours a day. The air conditioning doesn't work. Don't get me started on Irvine Lanes. $7 a game. Don't get me started on that, please. I was having a good day until you made that comment. PJ Haggerty, our boy Sam, the Sam Rothstein. Hope you had a good golf score on Sunday there, PJ. Won't make a difference over 24 games. The amateurs can hang for a few, but they will get crushed over 24 games. PJ, you're regional player of the year.
He's great. Let's be clear.
Great.
He's great. He's a junior bowling legend. Okay.
Dude, well, PJ almost made the show for the regional players.
I know. I think he's like the only person to win junior Olympic gold twice. Okay.
Yo, and if he's saying that
they're that good, take his word.
Dude, they're that good.
They're that good. He bowled with them as well.
No one understands.
Okay? I mean,
but don't get me started on why they're so good in compared to the amateurs and the regional players that aren't that good. Why are the levels so offset, Mike? And don't get me started on this point because I could talk for another hour on this. But you want to know why someone like a Bill O'Neill, a Jason Belmonte, Sean Rash, these EJ Tackett, why these guys are on a different level than, let's just say, the regional players and the house bowlers? Because there's no outlet for a guy, an amateur or a lower regional player, to get to that level. The only really way to do it is to quit your job, have a lot of money behind you, and bowl everything you can. Every weekend, travel the world. Dom Barrett, Stu Williams, Jesper Svensson. You know what these guys do? They travel the world and they bowl. Now, ask me how they did it. I don't know. Maybe they had some, I know how Bill O'Neill did it. Bill didn't come from a lot of money. Bill's family, he didn't have a lot of money. Bill's one of the bowlers that bowled his way onto tour. He made his money in amateurs bowling, took the money, parlayed it to the tour, and was just damn good enough to do that. There aren't a lot of players that could say they've done that the way Bill has done it. Other guys, I don't know, maybe they have financial backing. They just go. I see a guy like Nathan Bohr bowling all the time, right? And he never makes a show. How is he bowling everything? I don't know. Maybe he's got a pro shop, maybe he's got a side job, but you have to, the cards have to line up, right? They never really lined up for me. I was never able to really get a job that I was fortunate enough where I could travel, bowl, and still have an income, right? Mike, it's a whole nother topic. I love talking about that because there's a little bit of a personal passion for me because I feel like the PBA doesn't really help out bowlers when it comes to their regional program to get to that level. Like you have to really just quit your job, quit everything you're doing, and just go bowl.
Yeah, you gotta have something in the industry that allows you to bowl while you're doing that job, making money on the side, which is exactly what a lot of these guys do. It's right. That describes a lot of their situations. Rob, can you put up the comment from Austin Keith, please? I want to read that one. He wanted to ask us something here.
Sure.
This is our interactive show. Totally random. This is Austin's comment. What up, Austin? Totally random, but is bowling the only sport where we focus on the equipment more than the actual skill of the athlete? I've been thinking about this for the last few weeks and wanted both of your thoughts. Rob's shaking his head yes. I'm going to say no.
Yes.
I think it's a pretty obvious no.
Yes. Yes, it's an obvious yes.
Think about golf. I hear and I read a lot about the impact of equipment in golf. Think about baseball, okay? Even as recently as the last couple of years, there's been talk of juiced balls having something to do with the number of home runs, okay? You can think of football. I mean, the Patriots and had a whole controversy over equipment
Mike,
and whether the
you're not
balls were
understanding the
inflated or not.
question. No, you're not understanding the question. Look, okay. What is the first thing somebody does when they bowl great, Mike? What do they do when they get home?
They post on Facebook.
And what do they post on Facebook?
What ball they were using.
What ball they were using. This is the greatest ball I've ever used. Go drill 7 of them. Go get you some, right? How many bowlers, Mike? I'm probably the only one this year that has done it, okay? Had a great tournament. What did I do? I posted on social media. I threw the ball great. It didn't matter what ball I used. I executed and I scored, right? Reason why is because I'm not sponsored by anybody right now. So I'm not going to give that credit. But if somebody bowls great, the first thing anybody wants to know is, well, what ball did you throw? Right? Nobody asks you, well, how did you throw it good or how'd you throw it? Nobody asked that question. Mike, when I bowl good and people found out I made the cut in that, the tat, they asked me, well, what ball were you throwing? They didn't ask me, how'd you throw it? Were you throwing it good? Right? I feel like bowling, it's a lot based on what the equipment now is doing instead of how actually people are throwing the ball, how you execute it, because everybody wants to please the bowling ball companies so much because the bowling ball companies
put up John Stevenson's comment.
Yeah.
John Stevenson's comment is the issue is the ball companies control everything. He's right. That's it. I mean, you want your answer there. You want your answer, Austin. That's your answer. Okay.
That it is.
And that's the truth. That's the truth.
It is.
Rob, breaking news here. Okay.
Okay.
The top 24 for the Tournament of Champions is set. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah, I don't want you to run. You want to run that
all
all 24?
I'm running down the whole thing. I'm running down the whole thing. Yes, I am.
All right. Let me play. I'm going to play on my sack, my Lindy's bag sack.
Tom Smallwood. All right. 58-64. Belmonte.
Numbers.
I'm just doing the top 2, Rob. Relax, okay? Smallwood had a huge lead here. That lead has been cut. That lead has been cut to about 120 pins, 118 pins, it looks like. Belmonte, no shocker, in second. Here we go. Here's the rest of the list. Wow, this is quite the start to this list, Rob. Are you ready? Tom Smallwood, Jason Belmonte, Chris Prather, Anthony Simonson, Jesper Svensson. Whew. That's the top 5. Are you ready? Sean Rash. Well, you know where this is going. Sean Rash, Kyle Troup, Tom Doherty, Wes Malott, Jake Peters. Surprise there. Shout to Jake Peters. BJ Moore, Francois the Assassin, Brandon Novak. Shout to him too. Nick Pate, Christian Ascona, recent guest. Jacob Buttriff.
Right.
Bill O'Neill. Okay, our homie is
in. Boy, Bill.
Nice bowling, Bill. Richie Teese. Tommy Jones, Dick Allen, Michael Davidson, Young Bull, Rob, Young Bull.
Michael Davidson, man, cool guy.
And he throws it great too. Andrew Anderson, 868 the other day, making the cut. Sean Maldonado and Rob, Young Bull, had him on the show. Trevor Roberts, scraping in 24th spot. That's a hell of a top 24, I think.
That is a lot of two-handers and a lot of left to right players, Mike.
Yeah.
That's why it's incredible where someone
two-handed dominance, Rob.
Jake Peters, shout out, man. That's not your A game. We know that. So for him to make it is pretty good. If you notice anybody that was straight or had a straight angle up the lane didn't make it. Norm Duke, Chris Barnes, Walter Ray, those guys are straight players and they were dead because of the just you had to be real left to right on that. Anyway,
Rob, here's my final comment on the TOC thus far. You made fun of me on Twitter today. Because I was watching Flow and I was commenting on things I was hearing in the background. Like if you watch Flow and you watch a pair that doesn't have the commentary on it, you can sometimes hear the players talking, commenting on things in the back as they, or in between shots. And I was hearing a lot today because I had my AirPods in as I was listening. And, you made fun of me for even listening to it, period. Then when I told you I listened to it, even if there's no commentary on, you were like, you have a problem. But let me say something. I am more convinced than ever that they should mic up the players They should let them say whatever they want, and they should find a way to use that in a weekly segment on the show. Okay, because it is gold. I mean, some of the stuff that today, Tom Doherty starts out the first block. I think he goes like double and then almost picks 3. He ended up getting 7, but he almost picked 3. He came back, and I think he dropped an F-bomb in the middle of saying something like, "Yeah, way to stay consistent. Way to stay consistent." And like stuff like that to me is just gold. Barnes was on fire today. Okay. Norm Duke was joking about taking HGH today on his pair.
Here's the thing is,
F-bombs, Jeff. I know, but listen, that kind of stuff, Jeff, honestly, goes viral. That kind of stuff gets attention. Look at some of the videos that have come out from golf recently when fans haven't been there. You've heard some players have explosions and kind of get into it. Same thing in football. You watch inside the NFL, you hear that inside action. I want to see the same thing in bowling. I want to let these guys loosen up a little bit. Rob, the personality is there. It is. They, just got to let it come out, man.
Yeah, they just don't. If the players knew they were mic'd, they wouldn't probably be as animated.
But
if they knew everybody could hear them.
Be yourself. We'll worry about that afterwards.
They don't. That's the problem.
Edit it in a way that's not going to make you look terrible.
I know, but that's the problem. Is they don't want them to be themselves.
Jimmy,
I know we don't know how bowlers.
Jimmy,
are.
from the Ring and 10 is saying it's worth listening to the bowlers talking. I 100% agree, Jimmy.
I don't know. I don't listen to Flow with the volume on, let alone if I'm on the Flow zone or not. I'll listen to music or I'll do something else while I'm watching.
A lot of changes going on there, Flow, Rob.
Yeah, going on. I know. What's his name is not. Couple people not in the announced booth anymore, and I hope it's changed for the good, Mike. Hope to get some more cameras. I noticed that now at least I get to see some names when I see the pairs.
Yeah.
Which by the way, real quick, love the TOC, love watching the streaming because it's 100% great players instead of watching a U.S. Open that's 80% donkeys. I like watching the good streaming pairs. Oh, I did.
You went there already, yeah. You made.
Oh, I want to talk about the donkeys. Now. I like talking about the.
We love dumpster diving. It's it, but this week there really is no dumpster diving. You go dumpster diving. Jimmy put it out earlier last night. You find goats where you go dumpster diving.
What do you think about that, Mike? PBA needs to monetize the tour. It would be worth an extra $5 a week to hear a specific player. Could you imagine? I want $5 to hear Chris Barnes. And him curse and swear for a whole week.
True. No, I do. I like the behind the scenes. All right, Rob, we have other topics to get to. Let's keep it moving here.
Yeah.
Rob, they keep giving us gold on Wednesdays, Rob.
Oh, it's always.
They keep. It's like all these Wednesdays in a row. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's on purpose. So the PBA announced, Rob, earlier today, a new event. Okay. A new worldwide virtual bowling event. Okay. The PBA Bolero Global Rumble.
For the millions watching at home.
Okay. 17 countries.
Let's get ready to rumble.
$50,000. Okay.
Oh my God.
And we can read about a little bit about it here, Rob, if you want to. Okay. Basically, it's 4 stages, right? 4 stages where in the first stage, bowlers will have 2 weeks to bowl up to 99 games, okay? and their 2 best scores, right? Their 2 back to consecutive games? Yes. Their 2 best consecutive games will serve as their qualifying scores for stage 1, okay? The top 1,000 bowlers in each region in the United States and in the international conference will advance to the next round. Okay, there's 5 regions and an international conference. So
okay, so wait, so
two, hold on. In stage
well,
2, 6,000 bowlers will then have 2 weeks to bowl another set of games where their 2 best consecutive games will get taken. This third stage is down that goes from 6,000 to 240 bowlers. Excuse me, where they'll have 1 week to submit their scores and they'll take the 2 best consecutive games. And then the grand finale is down to 12 bowlers, okay, where they're going to compete for the prizes and for the money.
oh my goodness. Okay, where do I start with this? First off, I'm very skeptical of a tournament like this, just in the fact where just growing up and where I grew up, and I know a lot of people who watch the show know where I grew up in Brooklyn Lanes. I'm sorry, Gil Hodges Lanes, Brooklyn, New York. Give a shout, Mike. We were very friendly with the lane mechanics. We were very friendly with a lot of people that worked in the bowling centers, Mike. So first off, why couldn't I tell the lane man, hey, lane man, first off, wall the bejesus out of them. I don't give a shit. Wall the freaking lanes up as much as you can, right? And then you wall them up, right? And then maybe you tell me, hey, if I win 10 grand, I'll cut you in a little bit of chop. Now I'm gonna go out of here and say this, right? I might get some heat for this. What would stop me from having a lane man go in the back? Like they used to do with the with the pin thing and knock pins down for me. I mean, who's gonna be like regulating me bowling in my home house?
every round, your first 2 games are 300, 300. Every single round.
Look at Robert Mushtair. I mean, the guy bowled 900 like 3 separate times in his home house, right?
Yeah, it's only at participating bowling centers, Bolero centers.
Bolero.
But who's to say that, people know people there?
Mike, if you bowl at a Bolero center, if you bowl 3-4 leagues a week and you're there all the time, you're gonna be friendly with everybody who bowl. It's just like you're bowling in your own home center, right? How is this? Because Lane Talk is gonna, like, the app is gonna hook up with the scores, right? And it's gonna know your scores, and you're gonna be able to go in there, and I mean, look, like, I'm skeptical of it. I'm not going to be doing it. I don't think there's a Bolero center in Vegas that actually has like a good bowling, like a good place to go. But are people like going to be entering this, Mike? Like, how much do I have to pay open bowling prices, or is there a special like Royal Rumble like game rate, right, where it's $2 a game instead of $9.50 a game or whatever Bolero charges these days?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah, all I'm saying is it's a lot of shady stuff. People, how many 600s are there going to be, Mike? In a matter like, like, am I going to start throwing 2 balls down the lane at the same time? Like, can I do that? Like, I mean, I don't know. No, see, here's the thing, Jeff. I don't think they're going to be able to correct score button because the Lane Talk app is going to be hooked up to the Bolero scoring app.
Right.
So when you bowl the games, the scores are directly going to go to the app. And I would imagine now, Mike, what if I'm bowling and I'm on a triple and a messenger comes and the pin is there and then the machine hits the pin and it says it's a strike? Who's monitoring that? What if that happens to me and I win 10,000 because of something like that happens? Or what if the foul light isn't on and I'm going up halfway down the lane and I'm throwing the ball from the arrows? I mean, who's monitoring all of this for a $50,000 prize fund? Is it like that's legitimate questions, right?
Very, very legitimate. Very legitimate.
Dude, it might cost you 10 grand to bowl that many games of Bolero. 10 grand. You're going to have to bowl like 6 games. It might cost you 10 grand.
With food and everything. I mean, all the time you're going to be spending there. It might be. You might have to win the tournament to break even.
I know. But there's a lot of questions I have. All I'm saying is who's monitoring it, right? Like, look, I get what they're trying to do. It's a good marketing thing for the app. Right, they probably have a good like partnership with the app. They want people into the bowling center. I don't know, Mike. You'll have to do it. Can you do it? Can you go do it? For like seriously.
I don't
I'm
have the
serious.
time to go and bowl that many games.
2 games?
I mean,
you don't have the time to bowl 2 games?
Oh no, I'll go and bowl. Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to do for me to just enter, but Rob, like, come on, that in order to move on, even in the first round, you're going to have to shoot 600 or something close to it.
I know, but you have to go just for the show so that you could come back and give us a reporting exactly what happened and how you did, right? But you have to go also, but you have to call the bowling center first, and you have to be like, okay, when did you guys oil the lanes? When are they fresh?
Fresh house shot.
Right. You can't
Come
go.
in.
You're not going on a Saturday night
a ball.
at 10 p.m.
Maybe I'll drill a ball just for it.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd have to go.
I'll definitely have my new grip sack. There's no question about that. Make sure my grip will be proper and dry because
now
hopefully Rob will send me a grip sack or 2.
I will. But Mike, you know what they should do is a good promotion to this would be is if they try to sell it to the open bowlers, right? There's a big sign when you walk in, and maybe for. But listen to me here. Listen to me. Hear me out, right?
I hear you. I know exactly where you're going with this.
Like 4 fraternity brothers, right? I was in a fraternity, right? Walk into the bowling center. It's a Friday night. They're drinking pitchers of beer, and they go up to the counter, and then the front desk person says, "Hey, for an extra, $5 or $5 a person,
not even. I think it's free.
free.
I think it's free. Yeah.
Okay, for an extra, whatever. Just download the app, and if you record your scores, you could win this. Like, dude, for $5 or whatever it is to download the app for free. If there's promotion at the counter." Then look, if they were there to bowl 1 game and now maybe you're able to upsell them into 2 games, like I see that being more of a better marketing ploy than a competitive bowler who's going to go in there like me on a fresh house shot and probably beat the shit out of them. Especially if I've been bowling in that house, it's my whole life.
I like John Stevenson's comment of have divisions. That would have been a much better way to do it. Then it really makes it appealing to the house bowler, like the regular walk-in bowler, Rob, because you can say, well, you're only really competing against other walk-in bowlers, like whatever your average is, you have to be in a certain division, whatever it may be. But I think there's definitely some room for adjustment there. So
we have to monitor the scores though. We have to monitor them and see what
man.
You're gonna have to see what it takes to make.
Maybe we'll have some of the people that make it through on. Maybe we'll try and seek them out.
I guarantee you that not a lot of people are going to really know about it. I guarantee you it's going to take like 380 to make you through. I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot lower than really what we think. There's only going to be a select few bowlers that are actually really going to bowl keep bowling and until they bowl like 550, whatever. But
are you saying this is it? Are you saying this is my shot? Is that what you're trying to say, Rob?
I'm saying you got to go and do it. You at least try it and go. And I guarantee you'd be surprised. You'd probably make it through a few rounds. If not, then just cut the lane man a 50 spot. Have him go in the back with the coat hanger and knock some pins down. That 10, the trip 10. Get out every time you throw it.
All right, Rob. It's everybody's favorite time of the week.
Oh, my favorite time. Doing some tricks.
For those people that might be listening to our podcast, you really, if you're only listening, you really need to take like 30 seconds out of your day and look us up on YouTube and go to the end of this show and just watch the graphic that Rob does for the worst of the week. It's amazing. Nice job, Rob.
Thanks.
It makes me laugh every time. All right, you going first or I'm going first? I think there might be a chance we have the same worst of the week here this week. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I'll go first.
Okay.
Congratulations. Really, really heartfelt congratulations goes out to Scott Young, who had a post on the Southwest Bowlers message board. This got sent to me, okay? This is what it's come down to, people. Now people are sending me worst of the week. Hey, just curious if anyone else has noticed something during the last 2 shows. Dick Allen is using that small circular chamois to pat his forehead dry and then using it to clean his ball. That would be considered cleaning your ball during play? ? Your thoughts? just to be clear, I could care less. Just curious if anyone else has noticed it. Mike, does Ron Hicklin have competition for new ball cleaner? Is it Dickie Allen's sweat off his forehead?
It's kind of gross, though. You know, I mean,
could you imagine that? Just dude, I personally like. It's a pretty good observation. I'll give him that, but I mean, was he kind of going on the level? Like, is that legal? Is that like, does that count as ball cleaner? Like, are you cleaning your ball after every shot if you wipe? I mean, you know what that reminds me of? The scene of Major League when he's got the Vaseline on his chest and he's using it to use his curveball. He's like, it gets me an extra 3 to 4 drop on my curveball.
Yo, Brian McDonough said new ball cleaner, Dick Sweat.
Dick Sweat.
Oh, that's too good. All right, on to my worst of the week. Robert Hamilton, I hate to disappoint. He said hashtag free Tim Buck. Tim Buck did not give me any gold this week, so I don't have something from Tim Buck this week.
Can
I say something though? I'm still gonna share something from Tim Buck, but this is not my worst of the week.
Sweat.
Okay, it's not my worst of the week. All right. Here's a post from Tim Buck from this week though. He says anybody in the group, USBC Bowlers discussion forum, right? Anybody in the group going to the Southwest Bowling Tournament, Wichita, Kansas, this coming weekend, February 27th and 28th. We are in need of a bowler for singles and doubles Sunday, the 28th at 8:30 a.m. We looked at the sub list. We are just curious. Rob, do you understand the opportunity that we're missing out on here? Do you understand? Like, we could have been subbing with Tim Buck, okay? You know, anybody who's a fan of the show, if you're in Wichita, Kansas, and you want to sub with Tim Buck and tell him what's up.
Wait, let me ask you something.
But that's not my worst of the week. Go ahead.
Wait. Does Tim Buck put on the score, like on the monitor? Is it admin?
Admin, right?
So when he gets up the ball, it just says admin.
But that he probably has a bowling shirt.
Admin on the back?
Yep, that's like USBC discussion board. And like admin, okay. Chris Lutz in the chat is saying, shit, I could do that. Chris, are you near Wichita, Kansas? Chris, go and sub with Tim Buck and tell him we're giving him worst of the week every single week. He's a legend around here.
He is. He's the legend. He's the GOAT. Okay. He really is the GOAT.
Here is my worst of the week, okay? And I gotta say, it fits right in with my theme this week of
team name admin.
Your regular, your average house bowlers, even your above average, your better house bowlers in general, really not knowing shit. Here's what it is. This comes from the Hammer Bowling message board, okay? And it's from Scott Bicking. All right, it's his name. Congratulations, Scott. Great honor here. Worst of the week, okay? Here's the post. So I went to the dark side and bought I'm serious. This is the post. So I went to the dark side and bought a Motive Jackal Legend 4 weeks ago. Big mistake. Just ordered the Black Widow 2.0. That hits like a hammer. Here's why Scott wins worst of the week. Because it's a post that just screams to me, house bowlers just don't understand. Come on. Seriously? Do you really think the ball matters that much? I went to the dark side and bought a Motive Jackal Legend. Another company is the dark side. I mean, come on. This is a little over the top.
Well, I mean, you see those guys who are on staff where they walk into the bowling center, they have storm bags, storm balls, storm hat, and I'm like, "Are you on storm staff?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Well, you should drill maybe there's a good EBI ball that's." Oh no, I don't ever drill EBI stuff. Like, why? Like, are you getting paid to throw their stuff? Are they giving you free shit? No. It's like, man, there's some loyal. There is bowlers are loyal to a certain extent. They really are.
Feel you.
All
right, Rob. That's worst of the week for the people.
It is.
All right, Rob, another good show. bowling action continues this week. TOC Sunday, Final Five. I believe it's like 1 o'clock or 1:30 Eastern. So yeah, we'll definitely be checking that out. My final thoughts are I'm excited to watch the rest of the TOC this week. How about you? Oh, did you lose me?
Hello?
Did I lose you or what? What happened? I think I lost you again.
I do have a final thought, though, Ro.
Go ahead.
Just want to wish my brother Jeff, who's in the chat, a very happy birthday. His birthday is tomorrow. Enjoy your pandemic birthday. So happy. And talk to you guys later. Have a good one. We'll see you guys this week. Live Sunday show should be interesting.
All right, guys. Peace.
Later.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.